Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. And now, Tider Insider TV.
It's no surprise Alabama is atop the leaderboard once again. Alabama's ranked number 1 in the Associated Press preseason top 25 poll for the 3rd year in a row. They're the first football program since Oklahoma in 85 to 87 to be named number 1 in the first AP poll for 3 consecutive seasons. In fact, they're the only other one, other than those great Barry Switzer teams at OU. Now, 85, 86, and 87, did Oklahoma win a national championship in any of those years? Okay, there you go. So they got one. Good evening, everybody, and welcome in to Tider Insider TV, presented each and every week by Buffalo Rock, alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm WVOA 23 Sports Director Gary Harris. Once again, Pepsi, 0 sugar, max taste, 0 calories. I think that's something we can all get on board with. Listen to that good sound. Let me tell you something. That sounds sweet, but it tastes even better going down. Football season's back. Makes that Pepsi taste just a little bit sweeter. Well, in addition to getting the top spot in the AP poll, the Tide landed 5 players on the preseason All-American team. Ross Pierce-Baker and Jonah Williams are on the first team offensive line, while Raekwon Davis, Damian Harris, and Matt Wilson are on the second team. And another week of practice is in the books coming off this weekend. The Tide had its final fall scrimmage this past Saturday, and of course, the depth on defense is still a question mark. And according to linebacker Dylan Moses, there's still a lot of work to be done.
There's a lot of improvements to be made. You know, we have a lot of potential to be a really, really great defense. We all just have to be on the same page and communicate. That's the biggest thing with our defense is communication. And if we're all on the same page, you know, everything's going to be all right.
And Rodney, this past Saturday, the final scrimmage of fall camp. Fall camp actually wrapping up today. Classes start tomorrow. Now, it says on the script to ask you what you saw at Saturday's scrimmage. Well, unfortunately, you didn't get to see any of that, other than a little warm-up period. But you have talked to a lot of people. Just your takeaway from scrimmage number 2 based on what you've been able to find out.
I think it was the Jalen Waddle show.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Freshman wide receiver out of Texas.
Man, we've been talking about him a lot here over the last year, well before he committed to Alabama. But he had a big day, Gary. I mean, he had several big catches, couple of touchdowns, long plays. Obviously, Jalen Hurts had a much better scrimmage, I think, on Saturday, based on the reports that we heard. He had a couple of touchdown passes, no interceptions. Tua Tagovailoa, of course, had 2 or 3 touchdown passes as well. So he had a big day. And, you know, it sounds like, Gary, though, the defense, again, Coach Saban talked about the secondary. I think he mentioned that. A lot of young players there. You've got new coaches. Every coach on the defensive side of the ball is new, except for Tosh LaPoy. And he's at his first time in terms of being a defensive coordinator. Now,
the quarterback competition continues, according to Coach Saban. As you said, Tua did what he's been doing all fall camp, and that he was impressive. But Jalen Hurts had, as you said, his maybe his best day period of fall camp. Threw some touchdown passes, made some long plays down the field, and showed, I think, what people have been asking to see, at least according to what we were told, that he can make plays down the field and stand in the pocket. Did a much better job, we're hearing, of that on Saturday. Progress.
Yeah, I think, you know, from the reports we get, it was a lot like the A-Day a couple of years ago when he had 2 or 3 long touchdown throws. And so that's certainly very, very promising. And again, I really think, let's be honest, I think Jalen had, I don't know if you call it loss of confidence, but it certainly had looked that way in the A-Day game, and then the results of the last scrimmage seem that way. But it does seem like he kind of returned to the form that we've seen in the past.
Defensively, you said it, at least based on the quarterbacks having a lot of success. The flip side of that is the secondary gave up some plays. Now, again, a lot of these are situational, so we don't know for sure exactly how they went down. But the biggest story, I think, coming out of the scrimmage was the fact that Alabama's injury situation at linebacker got even worse. Terrell Lewis already out for a good portion of the season with an ACL. Then the news coming out that Chris Allen, who I'm told had really taken the next step, and they were really excited about his play at outside linebacker. He's lost for the season, Rodney, with a torn ACL. This is getting dire.
It is. It kind of looks like last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen a string of injuries like this, especially at one position, carry from one season to the next. And obviously, you know, Alabama's got a lot of young players. You've got Jerez Parks, you've got Ayabi Anoma. You know, obviously Anthony Jennings is back, Christian Miller. Just going off the top of my head, another true freshman would be Cameron Latu. Gary, they're going to have to develop some of the younger guys very, very quickly to try to get them on the field. Now, look, Jamie Mosley's been out a little bit too, but he'll be back. And I think, once again, he played a prominent role throughout the second half of the last season. He'll be back in the mix again this season.
And you've probably already heard the famous soundbite from Nick Saban when he was asked if he was concerned about the injuries. And he said, yeah, I've been concerned. You just think whatever happens, we just create more players automatically.
Well,
he used a colorful term, but it's not that easy.
He's right, but I also think that his success and the things that they've done in terms of developing those players have kind of created that thought process.
All right. Matt Womack, of course, the starting right tackle from a year ago, he's out 6 weeks too with another injury to that foot. And Najee Harris still not practicing. All right, still to come on Tider Insider Television, the Alabama Athletic Program is getting some upgrades over the next 10 years. We'll have details next. And Avery Johnson reeled in a top point guard last week, but the Tide losing another guard that was already signed. We'll have that story. And coming up, we'll be getting to your phone calls, emails, and tweets. As always, the phone number 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Email us at the address on your screen, or you can tweet at us using that hashtag TITV. We'll be right back with the show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, the award-winning Tider Insider TV. We'll return right after this.
We want to be the best at Alabama, and part of what you have to do is you have to make sure you honor the past, and we do a really good job of that here at Alabama. Then be very focused on today. You have to create that vision for the future. You have to continue to evolve.
Greg Byrne last Thursday talking about the impact of the new Crimson Standard program. The Alabama Athletics Department announcing on Thursday a $600 million initiative to upgrade athletic facilities across the campus. The renovation project is a 10-year endeavor that will add improvements to Bryant-Denny Stadium, Coleman Coliseum, the Malmore Athletic Complex, and much more. Certainly, Avery Johnson, it got his attention.
You got to be fired up. You got to be elated. I just can't wait. And it just gives us something to look forward to. It gives us another competitive edge in terms of recruiting. It gives us another edge in terms of fan experience. And as you guys know, coming from the NBA, that's something that's big in professional sports, and we got to continue to grow in that area here.
There's no doubt, and a lot of this, I think, is being modeled after professional sports to make it a entertainment destination for athletic sports. And Coleman Coliseum will be in phase 2. It's a 3-phase project. But, Rodney, I said this last week on the Sportscast and on my radio show. A lot of people have texted me and emailed me, I say a lot, several, asking, man, do they really need to spend all this money? And, well, it's a couple of things. Number one, I think the race is on in college athletics, and to steal a line from the fictional NASCAR character Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last. And Nick Saban is, I think, going to coach for several more years, but you got to strike while everything's going well. You don't wait until you're either behind or you're not winning. Perfect timing to do it now.
Well, I thought Greg Byrne said it perfectly. I mean, if you're not looking forward, you are going to get left behind. And I think that's a good vision to have and a good philosophy, Gary, certainly, because, let's be honest, there was a time that around here, they were really behind in facilities.
Oh, bad.
No question about that. And now they've kind of gotten into the mode where they're staying ahead of the curve, and I think you have to continue to do that.
Bryant-Denny Stadium, already an incredible facility. It's going to be amazing when it's done. And Coleman Coliseum. I know a lot of people are saying, why wouldn't you build a new one? Well, Greg Byrne says $115 million. Going to save them about $50 or $60 million to what a new facility would cost. And when it's gutted, it'll be like a new facility. But the infrastructure of Coleman Coliseum, very sound. Plus, there's a lot of other things that it houses there. So I think everybody's going to be pleased. Now, $143 million already raised, but that means that about $457 million still has to be raised. That's a lot of money. So there's still work to be done. All right, moving on. Avery Johnson and the Bama basketball program working to make the future even brighter than it already is with Alabama coming off an NCAA tournament berth. But the Tide lost one of its top recruits for this upcoming season after signing Kyra Lewis last week from Hazel Green High School. The other guard in this class, Jared Butler from Louisiana, was released from his national letter of intent, and he will transfer on to Baylor. Now, Rodney, this is, I I think has a kind of twofold. First of all, Kyra Lewis got reclassified to be in this class. Jared Butler, there was a lot of discussion that he might have a medical condition that was factoring into whether or not he was going to be allowed to play. And I just think, too, the numbers now with Kyra Lewis coming in, Butler wants to look elsewhere, and I don't think that disappointed the coaching staff. It's just kind of the way things work out.
Yeah, I don't think it's a surprise at all, Gary, because what you said with the medical condition, it's certainly been out there a while, that it might be something that's, again, maybe he goes to Baylor and cleared what have you to play, but I do think that obviously Kyra Lewis, we mentioned him last week, a little bit different kind of player. He's a scorer, a guy that can load it up, whereas Butler was kind of considered more of a true point guard. So, again, different kind of players a little bit, but certainly Kyra Lewis is an upgrade in terms of being able to put the ball in the hoop.
28.5 points as a junior, so you basically swap Lewis for Butler. All right, after Kristen Gilman won the ladies' U.S. Amateur last week, current Alabama men's golfer Davis Riley was looking to make it a clean sweep at the U.S. AMs for Alabama. Riley had strong rounds leading up to the quarterfinals, but he dropped a heartbreaker in the round of 8 to UCLA's Devin Bling. Riley had the lead basically the entire match, but lost it on the last hole after missing a par putt. A.J. McCarron is in position to finally win a starting job in the NFL after suffering a new injury. The starting job with the Bills could be in jeopardy. Details are coming up next. And we'll be taking your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, the information right there on your screen. Go ahead and give us a ring now at 205-348-9882 so we can get you ready to talk to us. We want to hear from Tider Insider Nation. We'll do it next right here on TITV. This is why you get a second opinion when it comes to medical conditions. After being diagnosed with a broken collarbone, of course, how do you misdiagnose a fractured collarbone? I don't know. Buffalo Bills quarterback A.J. McCarron got a second opinion, and that opinion said he didn't suffer any fracture. So now he's day-to-day and still going to be in line to try to win that starting job with the Buffalo Bills. McCarron's successor at Alabama, Blake Sims, is back in the professional game, signing a contract with the Birmingham Alliance of American Football team. He'll join former Alabama receiver Chris Black, who finished at Missouri, and likely former UA running back Trent Richardson, who is expected to sign his deal soon, and some other Alabama players are going to wind up in Birmingham as well. That's going to be fun, by the way. Welcome back to TITV. Let's get out to the phone lines, and first up tonight is one of our pals, John in Bessemer, one of our regulars is with us. Hey, John, what's up, man?
Gary, what's going on, man?
You know it, pal.
Hey, I heard we got 2 players hurt. That ain't good, man. Well, the reason I'm calling, the game Alabama playing this year, are we playing? I mean, are we favored this game coming up?
Yeah, John, they're about a 25, 26-point favorite against Louisville. We mentioned Terrell Lewis and Chris Allen both definitely out for the first game. Terrell Lewis, some talk that he might get back before the end of the season. Chris Allen probably out for the season. So, yeah, injuries are a factor. We talked about it earlier, but that is why you recruit the way Alabama tries to recruit every year, so you have quality depth. And, as you said earlier, some of these young guys are going to have to step it up. That's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, yep. We get asked about Ben Davis a lot.
Yeah.
This is a great opportunity
could be his time.
for him.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to Brent and talk with another one of our regular callers. Rick is with us. Hey, Rick, how are you, man?
I'm fine. How are y'all tonight?
Very well.
Is it true that if Jalen doesn't play, that he can transfer and have 2 years eligibility? I just don't understand about the big transfer problem. I remember when Donnie transferred from Vanderbilt, and he won the national championship, and no one said anything.
Well, Rick, that was under the old rules. Chris Donnelly came here and played 1 year. A very good safety from Vanderbilt, like you said. And I don't know if it's a big deal. I think that the rules are being changed and could change some more. But, yeah, if Jalen Hurts does not play in more than 4 games this year and graduates in December, he could use this as a redshirt year, and he could potentially have 2 years to play if he were to transfer out. This is all conjecture at this point, but that is a possibility, yes. Yeah.
It certainly would be an option.
All right. Thanks for the call, Rick. Let's get to an email. And this is from Larry. With all the depth at running back, do you see a formation using 2 backs in the backfield? Larry, that's a good question, because they do have a lot of backs. And we got a new offensive coordinator in Mike Loxley. Got a new quarterbacks coach in Danny Nose. Is there an opportunity possibly to see some 2-back stuff this year?
Sure, I think you could see that. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, how much, we really don't know. But, Yeah, I mean, on occasion, I think that is very possible.
All right, thanks for the email. We're going to get to another email, and this one is from Terry. And I hope Coach Saban doesn't let the liberal hype convince him to have Jalen Hurts as the first-team quarterback. Well, Terry, I should say, you don't have anything to worry about. I think that's kind of a playoff on some of the politics that's going on. Let me tell you this, nobody outside the program is going to convince Nick Saban to do anything. I think Rodney and I have been trying to get that message across to fans all summer. Now, if he decides that Jalen Hurts is best equipped to be the starting quarterback at Alabama, then he'll be the starting quarterback at Alabama. But it'll have nothing to do with any pressure from the outside or any liberal hype or anything like that, Rodney.
No question. There's not going to be any influence other than what he feels is best for the team.
All right. Thanks for the emails. Thanks for the phone calls so far. Still to come, Alabama adds to its off-the-field coaching staff and support staff. We'll have details. It's a familiar name. And more of your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, you can get through right now. 205-348-9882 is the number. There's the email address, TITV@WVUA23.com. Or you can tweet at us. Use that hashtag TITV so Brandon can find it on Twitter. And we'll discuss something with you in that fashion. We got more to come here on a Tuesday night. Boy, football's back this weekend, and then Alabama plays a week from Saturday. Stay with us. It's time for our Green Track Bama Bingo Trivia Question of the Week. You can answer the question on WVUA 23's Facebook page for a chance to win a Green Track Bama Bingo free play power pack. I like to have one of those. Here is this week's question. Who holds the Alabama record for interceptions in a season? That's the single season interception record, not the career record. The candidates are Hootie Ingram, Harry Gilmer, Antonio Langham, and Robert Lester. Go to the WVUA 23 Facebook page for a chance to win now. So got some relatively modern players with a couple of blasts from the past. All right, we're going to head right back to the phone lines. Rodney, Rick is with us in Bluff Park. Hey, Rick, how are you, man?
Hey, pal. How y'all doing this evening? I appreciate you taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to know how the new redshirt year rule might affect both Chris Allen and the younger number 24 that was injured earlier. The defensive end.
Yeah, Lewis and Allen.
Absolutely. Might they be back in time for some late season help down the championship run?
All right, thanks.
Remember, if they would also be eligible
for redshirts,
playing for redshirt if they only played in 4 or less games. So yeah, at the end of the year, wouldn't that be something?
Because neither one has used a redshirt.
That's right.
Lewis is a true junior, Allen a true sophomore. I hope that answers your question, Rick. All right, let's get to an email from Andrew. Who do you think are the starters by position on the offensive line, barring any more injuries? Rodney, that's a good one because with Womack out, and let me reel them off and you tell me if you agree. Left to right now, if they played Saturday, I think it would be Jonah Williams at left tackle, Lester Cotton at left guard, possibly a shakeup there, Pierce Baker at center, Leatherwood at right guard, and Wills at right tackle.
Sounds right as of today. I mean, that's the way they pretty much line up. Now, Deontay Brown is working some at one of the guard spots on the left side there with Lester Cotton a little bit, getting some first-team reps. Again, they mix it up a little bit, Gary, shuffle it up to make sure they get the best 5 in the right positions. So, I mean, we could see another flip or two, but that sounds about right today.
All right, you ready for a tweet?
Sure.
Let's get one from Mike C. T-Town. Why not have a package for Tua and Jalen on the field together? That's a popular question, Mike, and I think it's a possibility. I will say that. I don't know if Rodney agrees. I think there might be something earlier in the season to shake up the opposing defense where you see both these guys on the field. I think it's a possibility.
It's a possibility. I mean, certainly would not rule it out. Now, again, have we heard that or seen that in the media viewing or no? Have not seen it.
All right, let's take a phone call from Charles over in Gadsden. Welcome in, Charles. How are you, buddy?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Very well.
I just wanted to ask you about Ben Davis. He came in with a lot of hype, but I haven't heard anybody talk much about him lately. Y'all know anything about him?
Yeah, Charles, you hadn't watched this show lately because we get asked about Ben about every week. Again, the sophomore linebacker, redshirt sophomore linebacker from Gordo, his dad, Wayne, the all-time leading tackler in school history. As you said earlier, now could be an opportunity for him to make a move.
Yeah, we don't just get asked about him here. It's everywhere you go around here, West Alabama. Certainly, everyone's proud of Ben Davis, hoping that he certainly can find his niche on this team in terms of a role on the field. And you know, Gary, this is a great opportunity for him. He has run inside at linebacker, outside both spots. With the injuries at outside backer, he's been working there. So, you know, we'll see what happens, but it's a great opportunity for him.
All right, thanks for the phone call, Charles. Let's go to Reg in Birmingham. Real quick, Reg, what you got, man?
Yes, you think it's a good idea to reduce the number of seats in the stadium? That's going to put LSU and Texas A&M and Tennessee ahead of us in the number of seats the stadium holds.
Yeah, Reg, to answer your question, yes, I do. I think it's a good idea. I think that upper deck, some of those seats aren't premium seats anyway. They're going to put some areas for the students to hang out. I think sometimes less is more. I'm not worried about how many other seats other stadiums have. I think the experience for the fans is going to be much better. And to be honest with you, unless it's a huge SEC game, some of those seats stay empty now in the upper deck. That's just the reality, Rodney. I think this is going to be better.
Still going to be around 97.
Yeah, it's still going to be a lot of seats. All right, we're going to be back. Thanks for the phone calls, emails, and tweets. We'll be back to wrap up TITV right after this. Hey, we informed you a couple weeks ago that Rashad Johnson is joining the Crimson Tide Sports Network radio team as a sideline analyst. And he's also going to be a member of the Crimson Tide football staff. The Sulligent native has already joined the Tide in an off-the-field role. He's been observing defensive backs in practice. He spent nearly a decade as a standout in the NFL with the Cardinals and with the Titans. Good to have him back. And good to have you back on TITV. Johnson is starting his post-playing career while former Alabama women's basketball standout Ashley Williams is starting her pro career. The Crimson Tide's leading rebounder over the last couple of seasons signed a contract with TSV 1880 Wasserburg in Germany. She ranks in the top 10 in Alabama program history in scoring, rebounds, games played, and games started. That's a pretty good combination. And thank you for tuning in to Tider Insider TV. Remember, it's the third Tuesday of the month. That means we're headed to Buddy's Rib and Steak in Northport. We'll be there about 15 minutes. Come by, enjoy some food with us, and talk some football. Also, if you missed the program, we'll have a replay tonight on WVUA 23 at 10:30, and you can find it anytime at WVUA23.com and on TiderInsider.com. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching, everybody. Roll Tide. Good night.